Red FM.
It's basically a race sport. You have two teams of 5 women on quad roller skates on an oval track. And the object is to get around the track as quickly as possible. On a 5-person team, you have 1 point scorer on each team. So their job is to lap members of the opposing team, and they score a point for each member that they lap. And everyone else's job is to knock them down or pull them through.
So I've been looking at this as well. It's quite physical from what I've been seeing, Paula.
It is. I mean, you know, a lot of people think because it's a female sport that the contact element isn't, you know, going to be as tough and as rough as some of the male sports that you see. But like basically the closest equivalent that you're going to get is rugby in terms of, you know, a contact sport not played on skates. It is very physical. There's a lot of body checking, a lot of, you know, shoving people out of the way. You really, like, you've got 2 minutes to get around the track and pass as many people as possible, so you're not really thinking about being delicate, you know. you want to get there, get through them and get on with it.
I mean, there's legal and illegal moves as well. I mean, there's a 50-page rule book of what you can and can't do. I mean, you can't trip someone up, you can't punch them, you can't grab them with your hands, but you can...
But you can if the referee doesn't see it. You can if the referee doesn't see it.
Well, yeah, there's that. But I mean, there's 7 referees in a game, like, so.
But the odds in the referee not seeing something.
You want to be doing well to get away with a proper bad penalty, like. But there's minor infractions all the time just because you're going so fast. You know, you go out of bounds, you come back in. You know, so refs don't see everything, like. But
and I mean, you're talking about you know, being very, very fit for this sport as well. Like you're on roller skates, you're using muscles that most people don't use on a daily basis, you know, so when you bump into somebody who's that fit and that toned, it's going to hurt.
Yeah. Now, I haven't seen much of roller derby, just a few clips on YouTube, and it looks quite simple. It looks like 2 teams skating on the track, but it is quite complicated, it is quite intense, and there is a lot of tactics that goes into this.
Well, I mean, that's the idea. I mean, our aim with training is to get fit and skilled enough. I mean, we're doing a lot of endurance training and fitness training as well as the skating skills. You want to be skilled and fit enough when you get on the track for a bout that all you're thinking about is tactics. Like, it's a completely tactical game. Because it's broken down into 2-minute jams, everything changes. Everything changes every 2 minutes. You know, you know, the fact that you have a lead means nothing. Everything's back to this jam and this time round, like. So you really want to have everything else out of your mind. You want to know you're fast enough, know you're able to take the hits, know you're able to get... I mean, you have to be able to get back up in 2 seconds when you're knocked down. Like, that's literally in the minimum skills test. You have to be able to get back on your feet in 2 seconds. Like, so you have to know you're able to do all of that, so you're just completely focused on what the other players are doing and what you can do to get ahead. Like.
And it is roller skates, not roller blades.
Yeah, no, proper... Well, they're specific derby skates. They're not like... I mean, you could train in regular old... I still have a really old pair of roller disco skates that I'm training in because I haven't got my proper ones yet. But the proper ones they're more like a shoe, and they don't have a raised heel on them. They look like a running shoe basically with the 4 quad wheels on them and the pusher. But the wheels themselves even are much bigger. You have different indoor and outdoor wheels and that sort of thing. Like.
This sport is growing really rapidly as well, Paula, isn't it?
It is. I mean, in the US, well, all across the world really, it's the fastest growing female sport at the moment. There's been an explosion in the US. There's leagues in practically every state at this stage, some of which are getting up to 6,000 people at a bout, and that could be on a weekly basis. So it's fantastic. It's a huge phenomenon. It's really taking off across Europe. There's something like 60 to 80 leagues across Europe.
A couple of months ago there was 60 something. I think it's nearly up to 80. It's just, I mean, every week it seems like there's a new league somewhere else in Europe. And everywhere. I mean, it's huge in Australia, New Zealand.
What's the scene like here in Ireland?
Small.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there.
There's Dublin were first. I think they're going about a year. Belfast, I think, nearly a year, and we had our launch last night, but technically we've been together for about 3 months, I suppose. But I mean, the speed at which you can develop a league is something else compared to most sports, because the whole culture around it is that the sport is entirely run by the skaters. So you have a board of management that is made up of skaters. You know, like Paula, for example, is the PR officer. I'm in charge of fundraising and sponsorship. You know, we have secretary, treasurer, all those sorts of things. So the skaters are directly responsible for running the league. So you control how quickly it grows or it doesn't. So yeah, I mean, there's leagues in America, like Ole Rollers in America, who are national champions at the moment and who will regularly get 7,000 people to a bout. You know, they've only been together 4 years. You know, from scratch in 4 years, they've got up to that level. So, I mean, that's the kind of standard we'd be looking at. Obviously, they have a massive city to push themselves to, but we think I think Ireland recognises county sport in a way that America doesn't. County teams make sense in Ireland. And I think the amateur level of the sport, the fact that we all just do this in our spare time and volunteer completely, that makes sense in Ireland. Like, I would see the kind of sporting ancestry in Ireland for roller derby, I would see far more in the GAA than it is in, say, any of the more American sports. I just think that the mindset is more like that than, even if the sporting differences are quite enormous.
And it helps as well that it is hugely exciting to watch.
Well, yeah, that always helps with sport, all right.
It is, yeah. It is. I mean, it's so fast. There's something happening all the time. Like, you literally can't take your eyes off it, or you will miss something. And as Rhona said earlier, just because you're leading 30 seconds in doesn't mean 10 seconds later you're still going to be leading. There's always something happening, always something going on.
It's very high point scoring as well.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, a standard bout might be, an hour-long game might be 120 points to 80 or something. I mean, it's really, really high points, because there's stuff happening all the time. And there's a whole scene around it as well. Like, most game days would include, a kind of a festival atmosphere, bands playing, all that sort of thing. So there's a whole culture of music and parties and stuff around it as well.
There is, and it's a very much personality-based sport as well. I mean, we don't like talking too much about the whole, like, characterisation of the sport in terms of roller girls have roller names and sort of like characters on the track and so on and so forth. But it is an element of it, and it does bring that kind of entertainment side to the, tactical sport side of things as well. So.
And I think it prevents you. It kind of completely rules out ego as well.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea of taking on another name and all that sort of thing, like, it ensures that no matter how hard you train, you can't take yourself too seriously. Like, nobody's that important. It's just all about the league. Like,
what gave you guys the idea to start the thing?
Well, I don't know really. People keep asking us this, and I'm not even sure where it all sprang from. Basically, Dublin Roller Girls were getting a bit of publicity. I got in touch with them to see if there was anyone else in Cork looking at it.
Yeah.
They gave me a phone number for another girl. Two of us met up. I think it was first week of May, and just said, we'll try it out. We stuck up a load of posters, handed out flyers, set up a Facebook page. The first meeting was a month later, and there was 30 people at it. I mean, I'd say maybe 50, 60 people have expressed interest over the last few months. We have technically 30 members. We have about 20 solid training members. We're training 2 hours twice a week, and there's about 20 people directly involved and training as much as they possibly can, with work and family commitments on top. Like, so I think in a very short space of time, we've gotten a really, really dedicated bunch of people together.
The response has been phenomenal, really. I mean, the fact that Rhona and Carol, one of the other members, met the first week in May, and by the end of May we were having our first fundraiser is incredible. It just really seemed to have captured people's imagination. I think it appeals to people in a way that other sports in this country, for whatever reason, just haven't. It's just, most of us, some of us would have been very sporty before, some of us wouldn't have been, some of us would have tried team sports in Ireland and it just wasn't for them, but this for some reason just sort of touches something inside all of us that we're really passionate about it.
And I think even if you were involved in team sport, in school or in college, it's, if you don't stay involved after that, it's very hard, I think, in your mid-late 20s or your early 30s to rejoin a team, to suddenly start playing camogie again or play soccer or whatever. Whereas this is something that you can get into no matter what shape you're in. I mean, you'll have to work harder if you're in bad shape, but it's you're not expected to show up and be ready to run the marathon. And there's no. Everyone has to train as hard as they can, but they know it's their own responsibility as well. Like, there's no one telling you you have to do this or you have to eat this or any of that sort of thing. It's really down to each skater to decide how involved they are.
And there's something very exciting about being involved in something from the ground up. We're really building something completely new and completely different, and that's the big part of it for a lot of us as well.
Now, you guys are looking for a coach, I believe, at the moment. What does a prospective coach need to bring to the table to coach a roller derby team?
Well, right now we have a lot of people of different levels. Both in terms of skating skills and in terms of fitness. So we need someone who can work with the team and get everyone up to the same level. So fitness and endurance will be two of our big ones. Also muscle work and injury prevention. We've also already had a couple of fairly bad injuries. So it would be good if someone knew how to prevent injury to the greatest extent. I mean, if someone with skating abilities would be incredible, but we know we're not that likely to get that. But we can provide guidance. Like, we have coaches from other leagues around Europe, with coaches in America that'll mentor online. One of the main things we wanted to raise money for was to bring in coaches and skaters from established leagues to work with us and to work with our new coaches. And we're developing a league library as well with the DVDs, training books, training manuals, magazines, all that sort of thing. So whoever we get will have access to an enormous amount of guidance in terms of roller derby. But yeah, I mean, to have someone who has worked with teams before, anyone who's done, GAA training, rugby training, that kind of thing, we really need everyone's muscle work, fitness and endurance up to scratch as quickly as possible. Cork's been brilliant already. I mean, we had our launch last night, which was our second fundraiser. We'll be having more events as we go along, and everyone's been terrific. So we want to be bouting as soon as possible.
Yeah.
The reward is to get to go to the game.
Exactly. Yeah. We want to show people what we're actually doing and what we're actually about. Rather than just being hanging around in the background and going, "Yay, we're roller derby girls. This is what we do." Well, people need to see the results as well. So.
Finally, guys, how can people keep in touch with you and how track your progress and
website
stuff?
launches on Monday, rebelcountyrollers.com. You can look us up on Facebook. There's a fan page there. The email at the moment is rebelcountyrollers@gmail.com. But either of those three, I mean, if you go to the website, you'll keep in touch with us that way. We're going to start having bout nights, hopefully in the Crane Lane soon, using their big screen. So there'll be full commentated hour-long roller derby bouts from last year's nationals in America. So if people want to get to know the sport, they can come along to that as well.
But it's important to mention we're currently closed to taking in members because we really need to get the 20 to 30 people that we have up to a decent level of fitness. So it will be September before people can start coming to training again. But please let us know. Please get in touch and we will obviously keep you posted on what's going on.
And anyone who thinks they could be part of a coaching squad, of course, get in touch as soon as
absolutely.
possible.
Yeah, please.